Imagine stepping out of your house on a cold night. The streets of London are shrouded in fog, and the dim streetlights barely illuminate the path ahead. Suddenly, a woman's scream pierces the silence of the night, and then everything falls silent again. The next morning, people gather in a narrow alley, and the police try to keep onlookers at bay. But it's too late. Another body has been discovered. No one knew that this crime would be the beginning of one of the most terrifying and mysterious cases in history. A case that remains unsolved to this day. The case of a man the world came to know as Jack the Ripper. In 1888, the Whitechapel district of East London was completely different from what we know today. The neighborhoods were overcrowded with the poor, rife with disease and crime, and women wandered the dark streets in search of any work or any means of survival. Nighttime there meant only one thing: danger. But even the residents of Whitechapel themselves did not expect someone to emerge from among them who would plunge the entire city into a state of terror. A killer who left no trace behind, no witnesses, no fingerprints, and no real name. On the morning of August 31st, 1888, a laborer set out as usual for work. The street was strangely quiet, but as he approached one of the alleys, he suddenly stopped. There! A woman was lying motionless on the ground. At first he thought she was unconscious, but as he got closer, he discovered the horrifying truth. She was dead, brutally murdered. The police arrived quickly, but the scene was shocking even to experienced detectives. This was no ordinary murder. It was clear that the killer had acted with a strange coldness, as if he weren't afraid of being caught. The victim's name was Mary Ann Nichols. She was the first known victim of a killer who would later become the most notorious serial killer in history. Everyone thought it was over, but they were wrong. Just 8 days later, another body was found. Then a third, then a fourth, then a fifth, and each time, the killer vanished as if he had evaporated into thin air. Londoners began locking their doors before sunset. Women refused to walk alone. Even police officers were afraid to patrol the narrow alleys, because no one knew who the next victim would be. With each crime, the terror grew. But what frightened everyone the most wasn't the murder itself. It was the letters. Newspapers began receiving letters from an anonymous person mocking the police. And in one of the letters, he signed his name for the first time. Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper. A name that would remain etched in the world's memory for more than a century. Were the letters real? Or was someone else trying to exploit the case? To this day, there is no definitive answer. But what is certain is that the police came under unprecedented pressure. Thousands of soldiers and security personnel were deployed to the streets. Hundreds of people were investigated, and dozens of suspects were interrogated. But no one confessed, and no one was able to prove anything. As time went on, rumors began to spread. Some said the killer was a skilled doctor. Others said he was a butcher. Still others believed he was a member of the British royal family. Dozens of theories emerged, but none succeeded in uncovering the truth. Even with advances in forensic science and DNA analysis more than a century later, the true killer's identity remained unknown. Then, just as it had all begun suddenly, the killer suddenly vanished as well. The crimes attributed to him stopped. No one was arrested. They never found the murder weapon, and no one knew what had happened to him. Did he die? Did he emigrate? Or had he been living among people normally all those years? Unanswered questions. More than 130 years later, the case of Jack the Ripper remains one of the greatest mysteries in criminal history. Hundreds of books have been written about it. Dozens of movies and TV series have been made, and even today, researchers are still trying to solve the mystery. But the truth? Perhaps it died with the killer himself, and perhaps the world will never know. Who was the man who terrorized London and vanished, leaving behind nothing but a single name: Jack the Ripper?